We live in a twilight world. Let's do another quick recording. We're going to talk about 5G towers. It'd be interesting to see what happens with this video, because I remember, not that long ago, that this was a topic you could not fucking talk about. People were getting taken down left, right, and center on all platforms, especially YouTube, for even going near the topic of 5G and 5G towers, right? Because back in the scamdemic days, there was a lot of speculation and mystery and kind of mythology and all sorts of kind of spooky speculation going on about these 5G towers and what would happen. I think a lot of people, I guess it is mainly David Icke, were essentially kind of saying that, if there was going to be, a lot of people dropping ill, getting illnesses, it's more likely to do with these here 5G towers and the frequencies they'll be putting out, some sort of like electronic sickness, radio signal sickness, and so on and so on and so on. I'm sure you guys remember, you was around, it was everywhere, right? And yet again, there was a bit of deception there, right? The fact that you could not talk about it made everyone want to talk about it. So, the hidden hand, the double cross system that's running the internet, they play these games where they pretend to censor a topic when they want everyone to be talking about that topic, very much a double cross mentality, very effective one as well, right? Kind of this fake censorship and so on. So anyway, the reason this is on my mind is because my recent kind of conversation with Emily Moyer, XX number 8, we briefly spoke about 5G towers and, how they were just popping up like mushrooms during like the scamdemic days, right? Now, I can't remember exactly what we said, but the thing is, we've been having this conversation for quite a long time, right? Me and many other people, right? So a lot of new people have turned up in the comment section and said like, I've seen them being built, because I basically made the claim that like you never really got to see them being built. They would just spring up out of nowhere. And so people are turning up in the comments saying, no, I've seen them being built and blah, blah, blah. But I think I need to explain myself, because these people are new. They haven't heard the other conversations, okay? Yeah, sure. The ones that exist, on a street level, locally, in a car park, shopping centre car park, or a retail park, yeah, sure. You may have seen them get erected, and that's not exactly hard, is it? Because it's at a street level, it comes straight off a road. I was more talking about the ones that are kind of on hillsides and mountaintops and stuff like that, right? Yeah, I've drawn a quick picture to show what I mean. And here's a 5G tower. Here's obviously, it's meant to represent like a mountain, not a mountain, but like a hilltop. Here's like the motorway, and here's some very awfully drawn cars. I got a G when I did art back in high school. I got a G. I didn't even know you could get a G. I thought F was the lowest, but I got a G. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, throughout the scamdemic days, the so-called lockdowns, the freest times of our lives, I would drive up and down the M5, which is in the southwest of England, yeah? It goes pretty much from Cornwall up until near enough kind of Wales, really. Let me try and bring it up on a map. Hang on. Yep. So, this is kind of the M5 here. It kind of turns into A35, A38 here, and it goes all the way down to Cornwall. And then it goes all the way up to Birmingham and beyond. I don't know where it actually ends, the M5. But, here's Wales. Here's the southwest. This is obviously Great Britain here. And yeah. So yeah, throughout the scamdemic, man, I was just enjoying my freedom. I was checking out all of Cornwall. I was checking out all of, Wales. I was driving up and down this here line day in, day out. Every day I'd wake up and I'd either head down to Cornwall or up to South Wales, even the Midlands, and so on, yeah? I didn't really bother, I've already pretty much seen most of Dorset, because that's where I've been living like the previous couple of years. But I'd never really explored Cornwall. I'd never really explored Wales. And that's why I kind of loved the... Man, I had a great time in those lockdowns, man, because I was just free to do it. Anyway, yeah, so I would drive down the M5 and I would see these 5G towers up on the hillsides. Yeah, up fucking really high on really remote locations, right? And like this one I've drawn here, yeah, you've got to imagine this here green. This isn't just grass, this is forest, trees, bushes, everything. And then the next day I'd drive, so I'd count 10 on like the first day. The next day I'd drive 16. I thought, fuck man, it's 16. Next day I'd drive to be like 20. And I'm like, how are they fucking popping up so quick, yeah? Because you got to think about this. Hang on, let me see if I did get some examples, right? I'm talking about like this kind of thing, yeah? Forest area, steep hill. I mean, a lot of them were even more extreme than this, right? Because, hang on, like this kind of stuff. I did actually, have a load of footage where I'd filmed them all back in the day, but I must have deleted them to make space on my little crappy iPhone that's hardly got any memory. But, you get what I'm talking about, right? Remote, high up, steep, hillside locations in the southwest of the UK and Wales and so on, yeah? Now, this is a very, very different situation from, say, one appearing in like a Tesco's car park or whatever, yeah? You got to think, right? You'd first have to build some sort of concrete base. And just so everyone knows, yeah, I've been in the construction game a long time. I'm even, at management level. So, when you do your management supervisor level training, part of the kind of like thing is you have to kind of pre-plan a building site. All of the traffic management plans, the logistics. They'll essentially give you like a map, and they'll ask you to try and like put like the best routes in and out, like how you're not going to affect the local schools. Think about local traffic, how you're going to get materials in and out. What about mud and all that kind of stuff that's going to get transferred from the building site out into the local area? You're going to have to hire in one of them big sweeper trucks, sweep up the mud. Are you next to a river? Is there going to be issues during the winter time with rain and flooding that might affect your site? School holidays, local residents, all that kind of shit, right? So much planning goes into construction. Even the little things like where are your toilets going to be? Where's your first aid box going to be? Where's your, fire assembly point going to be? All of this kind of stuff that goes into planning. It's a fucking nightmare. And the logistics as well. So, back to the 5G tower, yeah? You'd have to have some sort of concrete base here. There would have to be some sort of base, whatever you want to call it, put here. I assume a concrete would be the easiest one. I've never actually gone up close and looked to a mountainside 5G tower, but I assume they would pour a level concrete base. So how do they get the concrete in there? They would have to, make a track either up here or from the other side. Let's say they thought about this, right? Because they do think about this kind of stuff. The M5 motorway's here. They would have probably logistically come up from the back and then came down, right? So they would have had to cut away. They would have had to get tree surgeons in to cut away a path, a track, a road, a temporary road pathway to go up the back, come back down here and lay a concrete base. Firstly, I've not seen any kind of trees being cut down, any track going to it. That's the first red flag, right? The first kind of weirdness. Secondly, I never at one point saw, pipes running down or sort of like concrete vehicle. There would have to been like off-road concrete trucks that would have driven down here, or I assume they would have perhaps run up pipes and piped in the concrete maybe. Yet again, this is not something you would just do in a 5-minute job, yeah? That would have been at least, at best, the pouring of the concrete would have took a whole day. The traffic management, the creating of the road would have took a week. None of that was seen. Okay, next thing you know, okay, let's say you've got the concrete base. You've got to erect this fucking tower, right? Now, for the ones you have seen get put up in your local Tesco's car park, they usually come in 3 sections or less, depending on their size, on the back of huge fucking lorries. So how the fuck did the lorry get up this massive hillside, through all the trees, and then down and unloaded them? You know, there would have had to have been a crane or a very, very fucking big forklift truck to take them off and stack them up. Yet again, you would have had to have a big strip of forestry cut out to get the machinery in there. There's none of that. There's no evidence of that. And for anyone who's in the UK, in the southwest, go and drive up and down the M5 and you'll see what I'm talking about. And remember, these all magically appeared in 2020 onwards. So people can't say, oh yeah, that was built in the 90s and all the forest has grown back. No. These appeared in the year 2020 onwards. And of course, yeah, these are powered by electricity. So there would have had to been, electric cables running to this thing, which yet again would have been a big operation. These would have been like, these contractors that do this kind of work, they don't rush. They deliberately take things slow. Guys, you've seen like, the people fixing up the motorways at night. They are very slow, very meticulous, very, very health and safety driven, fucking high visibility and fucking flashing lights and signage everywhere. These contractors doing this kind of work would be on the same kind of level, yeah? It's not like they just hired a bunch of fucking sole contractors, cowboys, just go and throw up a fucking 5G tower. We don't care how you do it. Let's get it done. Where was the evidence of any of this? You didn't fucking see it. Okay? So that's what I wanted to clarify, really. I was more talking about this type of 5G tower. The ones really high up in really remote places. I've seen the Tesco's car park ones going up. They're not that really... That's. And also the greater conversation I've always been having with kind of like, Emily Moyer and Nish and all that kind of stuff is this whole kind of idea of forestry being like a green screen and, we render as we go and all this kind of stuff. Perhaps this isn't really there in general, and so on. I don't want to get into that right now. It's, I'm just not in the mood to go that deep with the thinking right now, but yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. I also did remember back in them scamdemic 2020 onwards lockdown days that I would hear at night from about 10 p.m. onwards, a big fucking helicopter hovering around the southwest of the UK. I caught it now and again, but it was obviously nighttime. You'd only see the lights, right? But this, you can just hear from the way the rotors of the helicopter were hitting the air. This was a big fucking helicopter. It was either a Chinook or it's one of them kind of, those kind of big spider helicopters that carry cargo and stuff. Big fucking helicopter. It was either military grade or the kind that can carry a lot of heavy equipment. So one of the things I theorized was at night, they were helicopter dropping them in, which to me would make a lot more sense. But yet again, there was no coverage of this. You think there would be documentaries and stuff and news crews going, highlighting this, right? Because that would be some real good content, whether it's for a documentary, for a YouTube channel, even if just one of the guys who works on this was, stuck a GoPro to his fucking helmet. A helicopter coming in at night and dropping down 5G towers. Amazing. Yet again, that was never ever, I've yet to see any kind of documentation of the helicopters dropping them in. Same as really, when you think about it, there's not really a lot of kind of background on the companies that are fitting these. It's not like you go on like Indeed right now and you'll see a load of job advertisements looking for 5G tower erectors, right? Or it's not like there was a massive surge in, we call them steeplejackers, right? Guys that erect steel structures, right? Steeplejackers. It's not like there was a surge or a massive outcry for steeplejackers to fulfill the position running up to 2020 when there was going to be a massive overhaul of the communications, infrastructure. I never saw any of that. But here's the thing. This is perhaps where we get to what the scamdemic was really about, right? We all know that how the magician works. He'll keep your gaze focused on his left hand doing something while his, other hand is doing something, picking your pocket, attaching a cable, doing some sort of sleight of hand. Classic magician stuff, right? They're making you look over here. The spotlight is shining over there to get your attention over there while something is happening in the shadows over here. And perhaps this is it. Perhaps the scamdemic, the nonsense that was getting everyone to focus on that bullshit instead of looking at 5G towers being helicopter dropped in at nighttime, or perhaps, I think it was my friend Nish that said, perhaps these were already there. We just didn't know they were there because, that part of the reality was not unlocked to us yet. Perhaps 5G towers have always been there manipulating our reality, right? Because, let's get woo-woo about it, right? We all know, well, not all of us know, but a lot of us speculate that most of the people we see around us are just either projections, liminal people, ghosts, NPCs, whatever you want to call them. And perhaps these things are what's, beaming out the programming directly to their heads. Maybe this is what's projecting them. Because there's been a massive pole shift, right? Since 2020, the masses have changed massively in how they operate and stuff, right? I mean, the fact that every normie is now a conspiracy theorist, a truther, a 00 truther, a Netflix truther, it might be something to do with this. This might be beaming out the frequencies, man. It might just be just that slight change in frequency. They can change all the Grand Theft Auto fucking background characters walking around, right? Update them, give them new programming, and so on. We live in a twilight world. There are no friends at dusk.